I get a phone call from Captain Greg Poland. He says, Matt, we're going to go down to Key West. We're going to get to fish with Robert Trossett's son, Captain Chris Trossett. And I'm thinking, Robert Trossett, he's got hundreds of IGFA records. If his son is half the fisherman he is, it's going to be awesome. He says, we're going to go fish these shrimp boats.
When you think of Key West, you think of shrimp boats. We got one sitting right behind us. They're all over the place, and everything in the Florida Keys eats shrimp, whether it's the fish or the people. And every time I see that shrimp boat, it takes me back to high school. It takes me back to my first real fish on fly. It's one of my favorite fisheries in the world.
So Greg and I had been planning this trip for a couple months now. And as we got closer, it looked like we were going to have some good weather. And, usually in the springtime when we have that, we're going to make a run out to the shrimp boats and fish some of the Gulf wrecks. And you know, go after some blackfins, maybe some permit, snappers, stuff like that. And everything kind of came together. We had a pretty short window and we decided to take advantage of it. So running out in the morning, you know, we're running 30 to 60 miles out into the Gulf. You know, it can be hard to find these boats. There's maybe only 10 of them out there, and it's a pretty big ocean out there. But now that we have radars and AIS and all that stuff, it's really simplified everything. And then once you find the boats, you know, we got to find the one that's holding the right fish on it. Not just bonitas, not just sharks. We're trying to find a good ratio of tunas and be able to fish effectively. And we actually got there right as the first boat was hauling their nets. They were still underway, just pulled the nets in the boat, pulled up, threw some bait, nothing behind that one. So we decided to make a little run to the next one, check that one. Nothing behind that one. Started to look a little grim. You know, there's only a few more on the horizon, the front's coming. So we showed up to the third one. There was fish everywhere when we threw that first scoop of bait in, bonitas, and we saw a couple tunas run through.
So the relationship between a fishing guide in Key West and a shrimp boat crew in Key West is that the shrimp boats are out for sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes they're out there for months. They're catching their stuff, and you know, when the charter boats pull up in the morning, if you got a relationship, not only sometimes do they tell you about a spot that they hung their nets on, which might be a really good fishing spot, but they also have the goodies.
That shrimp trash is good for just about anything that swims, especially in the Gulf. You know, it's all stuff they usually eat. A lot of crabs, shrimp, small fish that we can use for bait. You know, you kind of figure out what they need. They're out there for months at a time, so anything helps them. They love getting fresh, you know, vegetables and beers and candy and stuff like that.
We brought some stuff. I brought some beer from Isla Mirada, a little local beer company, Isla Mirada Beer Company, to give them something different. We go up to them and they said, yeah, we've got some Bycatch. What do you have? We said, well, we got some beer. And I go to hand the crew member a 6-pack or 2 of this beer, and they look at it. It's not red, white, and blue. I said, no, it's a little local beer. Okay, we'll give it a try. They give us the buckets. They said, we'll get you some more cullings.
So you get those in a hopper, you take it to the back of the boat, dump it in the live well, and then drift away after you give them the basket back. And you start throwing the trash overboard, which is mohara and crabs and bait fish of all kinds.
All right, your first shovelful you throw out there, the water's boiling, and these bonitas, big bonitas are popping, and you're excited to catch those. And Chris is like, no. Bide your time. Wait for the big black one to come through.
But when he does come up and you're throwing the stuff out there, if you see him peel off to the left, if you can lead him with a piece of bait or drop a fly in, you're hoping, you know, to see that blackfin come up and grab it. That's what I'm looking for. So I immediately threw, and I couldn't stand it. I didn't even wait. I threw in there and I hooked the bonita, and I was just like back in high school.
These things will suffer around. Your first fly fish, your first fly caught fish.
And I see Matt getting ready, and he threw in, and a bonita grabbed it. So we're doubled up, and then his got spit. And I was happy because I got mine on. And then I look over there, and he took one strip, and a blackfin came up and piled on it. I was like, great, he got a blackfin, you know, because that's really what you want. So he got the better of the 2 fish.
I keep hooking fish, they keep spitting the fly, and then another one comes up and eats the fly.
So I've had 3 on one cast.
We got mine in, let him go. I got a blackfin on. Now we both have a blackfin on. I don't know what happened to his, but I caught mine.
I had on Alpo flavored underwear yesterday and the big dogs were chewing on me. I got my butt handed to me on a fly rod with a big, big blackfin tuna. It was 30 nautical pounds, not normal pounds, 30 nautical pounds. And on this 11 weight fly rod, I was humbled. I was completely humbled. I mean, like, thinking about it right now, I did everything I could do. And had it right to the boat, saw the big flash, it was right there. Chris is ready with the gaff. And then here comes the tax man. Oh, no, 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 no. No. No.
The right one's in there. It's not on our line now.
There he goes.
Woo! Well, let's do it again, Daddy. Let's do it again.
I'd say Greg had a little more success throughout the day than Matt did. I think Matt fed about 4 tunas to sharks, and he took his time on a few, but I think Greg's had a little bit more experience with the fly rod than Matt, so. But it was a good learning experience for everybody, and you know, I think we all had fun doing it,
So here we are, we caught a handful of tunas and some bonitas, having a good time, and then the sharks showed up, as they often do. And when they start, there's no reason to feed the fish to the sharks. So Chris made a decision. He said he had a wreck about 10 miles away.
Chris runs about 10 miles. We pull up on the wreck. All of a sudden, the flat bottom on his finder turns into just a snowstorm. It looked like a Spanish omelet, a Denver omelet, all sorts of reds and greens and yellows. And you look at it, and it's the wreck, and it's a pile of fish stacked 40, 50 feet high on top of the wreck.
So in the spring months, the permit spawn on a lot of these wrecks, and they gather in huge numbers. There might be 1,000 fish on one wreck. If you're willing to spend the time and make a little run, get away from everything, it's definitely pays off most of the time. That's why we brought Matt out there. After the shrimp boat incident, we needed a little bit of help, it looked like.
We start shoveling out stuff behind the boat, some chum, and in no time at all, we start catching big jack crevalles. We start catching some big mangrove snappers. But we're looking for permit, and they're not there just yet. And in no time at all, there were silver flashes. We start hooking some permit. And that's when I start losing permit again.
Even if they come out and take you son of a...
Mr. Humility comes out again, and I'm that guy that doesn't have it.
Which had happened. They did lose, what, 3 in a row, and you know, the captain had to step in and show them how to catch one.
It was aggravating. And then to see my buddy Greg Poland, to see Chris double up on permit. And I'm standing there going, all right, this is how it's gonna be.
I landed the first permit I hooked. Not saying I'm good or anything, but.
Chris lands his. I get to land Greg's because Chris is busy with his. They get that double header. They get the fish in the boat. I said, to heck with it. I put on a crab because they're back there. I make a cast out.
I don't care if you're little. No way, that thing is green. Yeah.
And you know what? It was the smallest permit of the day, maybe 15 pounds. You know what? It was the biggest Key West permit I've caught. Today was the first day I did it.
Again, the sharks came in and they found us. We lost a couple snapper to them. Not only them, but maybe some Goliath were eating some of our stuff. And we'd had a great day, so we kind of, you know, pulled the anchor and headed back towards Key West.
So we got back to the dock a little bit before my dad. He fished that day as well. Now we got all cleaned up and came back to the marina to meet him when he got in. I grew up working with my dad for years, and he taught me everything he knew, showed me all these spots that, you know, he's fished for years. And, you know, I'd say that I got a Harvard education in fishing and before I was 18. So it's kind of cool now that we're both fishing next to each other, and, you know, having him have so many accomplishments, it's definitely keeps me driven to, you know, keep pushing the bar, keep learning new techniques, going farther, going faster, trying to, see what I can do that he hasn't.
I've always been a motivated type fisherman. I like to do world records and get pushed, and I push other people, I hope. And now Chris is somebody that I'm going like, you can't have a better day than me. I'm working harder than I ever worked. I'm getting older, and so I'm trying to keep up with him most days.
So a fantastic day on the water, and then a better afternoon because I got to get together with old friends. RT was there, Mark Schmidt, and Chris, and it was old home week, you might say, a trip down memory lane.
Great to be a student, great to see buddies get back together again, great to catch fish in a way I've never done it before, in a way I've always wanted to. The shrimp boat fishing in Key West is legendary, and then I got to do it with guys I think are kind of legends now. Greg Poland, my buddy, he's a legend, come on. Chris Trossett, he's gonna be a legend if he's not, and then to meet RT, it was fantastic.
So I think the day was a great example of, how the speed and the ride and efficiency of this boat, really keeps us in the game and keeps us able to fish on days that are questionable, and which is key to my success as a charter captain. That's why I have a 35-foot contender.